Welcome back to Morning Joy, where truth matters. I'm your host, Keith Downey, and today we're exploring the incredible wisdom of a 12th century saint whose insights are transforming our modern health. Joining us now is Leila Lawler, writer, speaker, and the talented author of the foreword for St. Hildegard's Garden, Recipes and Remedies for Healing Body and Soul. This book unearths centuries-old secrets to better health, peace, and vitality through simple yet powerful herbal remedies. Leila, it's wonderful to have you on the show. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, quick question. What drew you initially to the life and teachings of St. Hildegard?
Well, the first time she really entered my consciousness was actually when Pope Benedict canonized her and made her doctor of the church. Mm-hmm. And I was fascinated by that idea because I guess I knew that, for instance, Catherine of Siena was a doctor of the church, and Therese of Lisieux, and of course, the certain church fathers. And so I thought, well, who is this medieval saint? And I read what he had written or said about her in the proclamation, and I was really intrigued, and it struck me because I respected Pope Benedict's intellect and understanding of history. I thought, this is the real deal. We're not just doing DEI here. We're not just trying to throw in a woman, right. But there's really something substantive here. And then later, as I became more interested in the whole medical situation that we're in and the way we approach the body and health, my interest was renewed.
Wow. So, Leila, how did you get approached to write a foreword for this book? That's a pretty honorable thing to be asked to do.
Yeah, it was really nice. So at Sophia, I guess they are a little bit used to my writing, and they the publisher approached me and said, we have this book. It's written in French. It was published by an Italian publisher in Europe, and he said, we're translating it, and we would love to have a foreword for our American readers, and, would you be willing to do that? And then, of course, I don't know, actually, the author, Paul Ferris. I'm assuming he only speaks French, so so then I think, and what with the time difference and all, I think that it's probably also just easier to have an English speaker. Who's maybe a little bit familiar. So, yeah, they asked me to write it, and that was very nice. And it is a really beautiful book. I love it.
Yeah, and I think it's great timing, too, because I think a lot of Americans are looking to more kind of natural remedies of just some of the basic things that, common cold, all sorts of things that some people will take supplements or maybe medicinal things that maybe you don't necessarily need. So I'm curious, Leila, what do you know the idea behind Hildegard's elixir?
Her elixir?
Yeah.
I'm not sure whether I know what you mean by elixir.
Well, it's her. Yeah. So I mean, it's I guess for curing common ailments. Yeah, her approach.
Yeah, so she's very interesting because she's really transmitting. I mean, Saint Hildegard had just an amazing spirit and an amazing mind. And so she lived in an amazing time. The Middle Ages are a time when great thinkers, the people who were, especially Catholics, were immersed in a way of life that reflected the hierarchical understanding of God's creation. And so this idea that everything in creation mirrors everything in whatever level is above it until you get to the mind of God. And for her, she understood an ancient wisdom about the body needing to be in balance. So for her, it wasn't just a matter of what herbs would help, what ailments, but how do we get the body into balance is the ailing person getting enough sunshine, enough rest? Are they living in the rhythm that is a reflection of the liturgy, the rhythm of the seasons, the liturgical seasons, the natural seasons, the four humors? Like, she really integrated all of this into her system. And of course, she was the abbess of a Benedictine monastery. And so under her care were all the nuns and really all the people in the community. So because of her great mind, she systematized all this, and she wrote, a treatise about it. And basically, it's all based on the idea of the word that she gave it, which is veriditas, which is a word that has within it the root of the idea of greenness and the living energy and the life that goes through all of the created world and all of creation, and that we need to basically get our bodies into balance so that we have a living energy in our bodies and are not ailing and failing. And herbs are certainly part of that. And she just had many amazing insights about, not only a specific remedy like this herb will help you with this, but it will bring your body into balance.
I love that, bringing your body into balance. And you also mentioned, are you getting enough sunlight? And I know there's a lot of Americans who are getting artificial sunlight in an office setting and 8 hours a day, bare minimum there.
And the light that most Americans, and unfortunately children, when they're at school and in the places where they are, even at home, the light that they are getting is just not actually good for them. And then we have a fear of the sun, which is very interestingly weird. And we slather ourselves in a chemical formulation to protect ourselves from the sun instead of having a reasonable common sense approach of, a little bit of sun, maybe go into the shade if you're feeling overheated, but definitely let the sun, especially the morning sun, go directly onto your body. This is actually very important and a very important part of our health. And for her, in her idea, the patient would actually spend time in the sun. And of course, she was German, so I think that, we can infer that she wasn't a tropical person who, was blasting someone in the sunshine all day long. I think especially for those of us, such as myself, who live in the North, we get the idea that this is a moderate thing, but it is important. And yeah, when you talk about our medical system now, there are so many things where I think we're really questioning, are these medications actually helping us? In many cases, they do help, but in some, it could be having side effects, or there could be older remedies that would work better. And I like to say that a lot of the medical issues come down to nursing care, and that's been really lost, I think, in our time. So I think this book is great for kind of recovering that idea of just taking care in a simple, common sense way.
Common sense also missing from the greater American culture. So what are some of your favorite Hildegard-inspired recipes that may support overall health?
Yeah, so the book is really interesting because it's a beautiful book that is worthy of kind of being left out on the coffee table to be enjoyed. And I'll just insert here a little note that I've had feedback from readers that they've gotten it for their teenage children who have really enjoyed it and really have been learning a lot and perusing it. And so the book is set up with my foreword, a biography of St. Hildegard, then some beautiful illustrations of the plants, and they are vintage prints that not only show the plant, but show it with its seeds and its flowers, so it would be easy to identify. And a lot of the things are very common and can be found. some you would need to plant in your garden, but some you just will find out there in the wild. Then it has remedies, and then in the back section there are actually recipes. And St. Hildegard was very much about that, just in what you eat. For instance, there's a wonderful recipe for pesto, and here's one that I love, and I'm definitely going to try: honey-filled iris rhizomes. So if you have irises growing in the garden, you can pull up their rhizomes, peel them, wash them, and peel them, and soak them in honey, and that just makes a lovely little condiment that will be very healthy. So there's just many things like laurel and almond cookies.
Ooh.
She was really into making biscuits and cookies for people that included a certain herb that she would mix in. So laurel is, maybe we would know it better as bay, like a bay leaf. And the idea of, some people I think denigrate. I've seen on social media people putting bay leaves down, like, why are we throwing this leaf in there? But it is actually, it has all of the things that are out there, the fragrant, wonderful plants that are out there. God has put there for a reason, that there's going to be something in it that, some people maybe really need, and will help them to regain their health. She's very big on milk, honey, almonds. She eggs. She loves eggs.
Wow.
Salt. So there's a lot in here, a lot of information.
Very, very cool, Leila. Thank you so much for joining us. And for those wanting more information on this, make sure to check out St. Hildegard's Garden, Recipes and Remedies for Healing Body and Soul. Also, you have a chance to win the book. Got to play our Catholic trivia game for free at grnonline.com/joy. Leila, thanks again. And that is it for today's Morning Joy, where truth matters. Now, a couple ways that we can go about moving forward. Join us on the After Show Clubhouse to extend the conversation for so much more fun. You got to go to YouTube, Rumble, any of the social medias. Search Morning Joy Radio or GRN Online. But if this is us parting ways, God bless. Make it a joyful day.
This has been Morning Joy, where truth matters, hosted by Keith Downey. Take some joy with you today. Visit grnonline.com/joy to listen again, share a segment, or answer the question of the day. That's grnonline.com/joy.